This is Mr. and Mrs. in Business podcast, where we discuss business, home, family, rants, and bands. In this week's episode,
that right person is predominantly yourself.
I'm building this up.
Yeah,
hold on. We just wanted to talk about stress in general. You all flipping morning getting ready for this. We've just been arguing. I don't know where you put your chewing gum because you started off with chewing gum. I
Get in
got
the
called
Christmas
Scrooge, Grinch.
You were.
Every
Yeah, we were both
negative
at you,
connotation
weren't
with
we?
Christmas, I was.
Physiotherapist. If
Oh
you can come for a massage
God.
if you wish. But,
I am so tired at the moment.
and now, let's welcome your hosts, Chris and Helen Butler.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. We have an awkward sign on, don't we? We've spoken about this before,
I'm
but I
trying
feel
not
like
to make it awkward. Come on, give us a chance.
I find it really difficult to know how to sign on.
What? Because you've spent a few hours with each other.
Yeah,
You've
because
had
it's not like I've
conversations,
just seen you.
You've done part of the day, and then it's like, good morning.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. Like at work, it's like I've spent, like you say,
Yeah.
when you first meet somebody at work for a meeting or stuff, you're right, how are you? It's
Yeah,
natural.
because it's a
But
genuine question. But now
I've
it's
just
like,
seen you all flipping morning getting ready for this. We've just been arguing. I don't know where you put your chewing gum because you started off with chewing gum.
Come on.
And I was, hello, good morning. It's like, it's really awkward and weird.
Well, I was trying to make it an awkward one, so I was going to say, hello, good morning. I'm Helen Butler. He's...
Chris Butler, husband and wife, obviously, not just coincidence.
And together, we run a couple of businesses.
Three.
Well, a few businesses. So, yeah, we run Thread a Pixel, which is personalised workwear and anything personalised and branding from design and
These are
all
shameless plugs,
sorts
by
of
the
bits.
way.
No, just in case, we've got a new listener. Might have that one new listener.
That's true. We could go from three
you
to
know?
four.
Yeah.
3 to 4.
And then...
Rome wasn't built in a day.
And then Kraken's Media,
Kraken
where
Media.
we do video production.
Yep.
And also #NameIt, where we do personalised gifts.
Yes. I'm wearing my Kraken's hoodie because we're out doing a video shoot this afternoon, just a little one.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All good. So, yeah, that's a bit about us. And we've got our nice morning cup of coffee.
Yeah, it's still morning time.
It's actually the third one of the morning, but
Yeah, normally it's only 2, but normally we have our second one third one about 10 o'clock. A little bit early, but hey-ho.
Yeah.
So, for those of you that have watched and listened to us before, we have a subject that we cover off each week. And this week we're going to talk about the word that... Hold on. I'm building this up. Yeah, hold on. You don't just get a movie, do you? Get straight to the anyway.
The juicy parts.
Yeah, I was going to swear
okay.
and I can't swear. I'm trying not
No.
to swear. Right. So, this week we're going to talk about that word that people don't like to talk about too much, I think.
Or some
those
people
feelings
maybe...
that don't like to talk about
Yeah.
too much, or where people maybe sometimes mix up what those feelings might be.
Yeah.
And that is stress.
Stress.
Now, before we start, this podcast isn't to offend anybody. This is just my point of view on stress.
And mine.
Helen's point of view on stress. That's not to say mine is right or Helen's is right or yours is right. This is just how individuals feel about stress.
Yeah.
And so this isn't we're not psychoanalysts. What is it? Psychotherapists. We're not
Yeah, or
physiotherapists.
Physiotherapist. If
Oh
you can
my
come for a massage
God.
if you wish. But
I am so tired at the moment. I feel
we're
like
not
I'm
therapists in
I'm
general.
running on empty at the minute. Waiting for Christmas. So there's another dreaded word which we'll talk about in a bit.
Yeah, the C
But-
word.
No,
That's one for next
Christmas.
week. Yeah.
So yeah, it's just our opinion on it, and as I say, this is not meant to cause any offence. Hopefully, it won't. Hopefully, you might pick up some bits that you might not have thought of before, or different ways to deal with it. But
Yeah.
we just wanted to talk about stress in general because I think that in today's world, I don't know if it's more prevalent now than it was 30, 40 years ago. I don't know, but I feel like there are more stresses and pressures in the world today than there was
they're
previously.
different, aren't they? Because, it's just been the weekend of Remembrance Weekend. Now, that is real stress.
Okay, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I was explaining to our son and saying, the 2-minute silence, and I was saying what it was for and what we needed to appreciate in that 2 minutes.
Mhm.
And, that's just another
Yeah.
level of stress,
No,
isn't
okay,
it?
yeah. So
But
that's
obviously what you mean is
general
in today's world,
day-to-day,
it's
yeah.
totally different stresses that
Well, I think it's
that
like
people
social
have
media and,
because
and-
of social media.
Yeah, I think social media,
Which I think is the main thing, isn't it? Social media is the main drive of much of the stress, I would say.
Yeah, and so
Um,
we kind of just wanted to talk about today, or and this I think is as much for our own benefit. This is almost like therapy for me and you, isn't it? As hopefully is other
Well, I think we
people
do find
listening.
it quite useful,
It's
don't
quite
we?
therapeutic. It's
odd
almost
way.
it is almost like a physio. No, say it again.
It's maybe because we have to be diplomatic with each other, whereas in the
We
morning we're
can't
probably
be
like, "Oh, that's ridiculous. Shut up."
shut up.
You've got to be a little bit more
I'm off to work,
polite.
shut up.
If yeah, and you can just walk away. Whereas here you can't really
Yes, darling.
walk away.
Yes, darling.
No, but you put your point across a bit more diplomatically, maybe. Well, not you, because you're quite good with your words, whereas I can be a little bit
Aggressive.
a little bit brash, maybe. I don't know. I just it comes out before I filter, whereas I find that you've got that filter. Whereas I'm just like, well, that's ridiculous. Whereas you'll be like,
and then halfway
well,
through saying, you're like,
perhaps.
so dear, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. And then I'll see the other point of view, and I think that's something that you're really good at anyway.
Right. Yeah. So we want to talk about stress, and actually, because stress is in all of our lives today. It's kind of the different ways that me and you deal with things in terms of stress, because I think that me and you have very different ways of dealing with lots of things, actually. And a lot of the time we have different points of view. And we've spoke about this before, that it can be a negative, but there's also positives in that as well, that it allows us to see other people's points of view, which is always a good thing, because not one person always has the answer. So this will be really interesting for me and hopefully for you to figure out, because I don't think I've ever asked you this actually, is how do you, I think I know how you deal with stress.
Yeah.
But I've never actually asked you the question. So,
oh gosh,
on the spot, that's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. How do you, Helen Butler, deal with stress?
Well, I think you and I have different levels of stress, first and foremost.
Oh, we're getting deep.
So I would probably say, oh gosh, I'm stressed. And I need to, I've become a lot more aware of using that word. I think by having a 9-year-old, and in the morning, you might say, or I'm trying to finish some work and he's on at you in your ear and you're like, oh God, I'm getting really stressed. I need to get this out for the customer. Can you just be quiet? I have become more aware of not using that wording. I don't want to overuse the word, which I do feel can happen from myself and anybody these days. It's too easy to use that word when it's just, well, what defines stress, really? So
you're being very diplomatic now. You're using your filter.
I've got different things that help me with stress. Music massively helps me.
Isn't it funny how music, I think for a lot of people, music can instantly affect your mood.
Absolutely.
Can take you from being really upset and feeling really down
and emotional, and
then you have this upbeat song.
Ceiling.
And it's amazing actually the impact that music has on you mentally.
Yeah.
And this is what I love about filmmaking and stuff as well, is that, sorry, we're going off a bit of a tangent here, but
you are.
You can, I know, that's what I said. Did I say we? Anyway.
You said we, but it's you.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Shut up. Where you
Don't
can
forget it's filming.
I'll edit that bit out. I'm in charge of edit. So where in a film it's amazing the power of music and sound effect and how it really helps tell a story. In fact, it would really interesting to listen
play
to
the same scene without happy music and then scary music.
Yeah, but and also without looking at the visual. And seeing if the music and sound effects help paint the picture, because it's so impactful. I mean, we when we go through our edit, we do normally we get the edit right first in terms of the sequence and stuff like that, and the grading and the sequence of the shots, and then we look at sound production. So then we do sound effects to emphasize things, because it's not always you can't always get the right sound on set. And then we drop in the power of music, and then we do all the final tweaks. And it's amazing when you get to that last piece, how much it just takes it from here to wow.
Well,
and
I guess
it elevates it totally.
Yeah, and getting the timing right as well.
Yeah, well, it's crucial. The build up to a moment and things.
Yeah, like for example, this is an awful example, but
I'm scared of what you're going to say.
I was watching Married at First Sight last night, and they were saying whether it was they were giving their feedback as to whether they wanted to stay married, and she was saying, so the way you make me feel, you're really caring, and it was like la 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 la, and really caring. However, and it literally went.
Well, I couldn't tell a difference between your happy and sad song. They both sounded the same. Oh, it's just pitch.
But yeah, it
So
is.
music has a massive
which just
impact.
displays that. Yeah, in the filmmaking,
Yeah.
it's setting that scene and making you feel that emotion imminently.
Yeah, and it's only since
So
I've started filmmaking that I've realised
yeah,
how important it actually. I
yeah,
always liked music and things,
yeah. But it's
but I never
highlighted
really understood.
over
I
the
suppose until
years.
I got involved in it myself. It was like,
Yeah,
wow, it just
yeah.
changed it. Anyway, tangent. But
So
yeah,
may I
so
continue?
sorry.
Thank you.
I feel like sometimes when we have our podcast, it's more like a headmaster, headmistress, and a pupil.
Well, not really. Oh, we're both
Yes,
just
milady.
passionate about getting our points
I love
across.
McCain,
You asked
milady.
me the question,
Oh, well,
henceforth
get on
I'm
with it.
answering. But yeah, my music choices are so eclectic. It's like 1 minute I will listen to classical and absolutely love it because it'll put me in a calming state. And then I'll literally want to listen to like something really upbeat. But so yeah, I find that really helps. But then also I will take that time in the car journey to and from work or to meetings
Mhm.
to really calm my state and
So
try
that is it.
and
That sorry, but just so I can try and understand, because like I said, we've not asked these questions to each other before.
yeah.
So this is just as interesting for me as it hopefully it is for our 2 subscribers. It gets less every time I say it, not more. When you say so on my car journey, is that because you're on your own, or is it because you can pick your own music, or
Well, I think it's
what
because
is it
you
about that?
know that you've got X amount of time. You know from A to B, you have got that X amount of time to yourself. When you're at work, you don't know when the phone's going to call. Obviously, with your mobile, it could call, but you can, divert it to an answer phone
Right.
and call them back. But you know that is your own time. Yeah, I mean, I don't do that state of mind when our son's in the car because I need to be there to talk to him, and I
Mhm.
often want to talk about his day. So yeah, it is when I'm just on my own in the car because yeah, I know that I have that time on my own.
Right.
And I think that's quite a common thing for a lot of people because I think a lot of people almost when they some people that have started working certain days from home, they are saying that they miss that journey because that journey is often used to plan your day mentally, plan what you need to say, what you need to do,
Right. Okay. So it's almost
and
like a
think
planning
about
session,
yeah,
and that helps you with stress then throughout the day. You feel because you've got
yeah,
this time
yeah,
to sort of plan ahead of what's going to happen.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so how do you deal with it? And in terms of then, you're in the middle of the day and the F-bomb drops, and
Well,
and there's something
yeah.
like, wow, what was that? I wasn't expecting that.
I have to share my emotions. I wear my heart on my sleeve and I'm very open.
hmm
And I always have been. And so I find it helpful in a problem shared is a problem halved for me
Okay.
with the right person.
Yeah.
And that right person is predominantly yourself. Again,
I did come in
because
handy.
and it works out particularly well because of us being chalk and cheese.
Yeah.
So I'll be like, oh my God, oh, I don't know, something minor has gone wrong, blah, blah, blah. And you'll be like, right, okay, so just do that and then that'll be sorted. And I'll be
You-
like, oh.
I think like you're
So I
very
do-
reactive, and
Yeah.
I'm more like methodical.
Yeah, 100%.
So I feel like, from my point of view, when something
Yeah.
happens and you become stressed, it
Mm.
becomes like this
Mm.
circle of doom.
Yeah.
And you like on a hamster wheel, and you just can't get off. And the thing that's keeping that wheel moving is this impending doom feeling. Whereas I'm like, yeah, initially that's like, oh dear, what? Because I'm not swearing. Oh,
Yeah.
and then it's
Yeah.
like, hold on, right, okay,
Yeah.
stop for a minute.
Yeah.
Let's not
No
get
one
on
else
that
is going to
hamster
come
wheel.
and save
No,
you, especially
no,
when it's your own business.
I'm on my own.
Nobody else is going to come.
Exactly. The arm bands
So,
are off. I'm in
sort
the
it
deep
out.
end. There's 6 sharks around me.
Yeah.
How do I get out of this situation?
yeah.
And I feel like I've become quite
You're a problem solver.
methodical. So
Yeah,
I remember when
yeah.
I was young, I think I get this off my dad actually, because he's very similar. He's had his own business pretty much all his life. And
Yeah.
when we were younger, I remember being at the park with my little brother, and he just had a BMX bike. I think it was a BMX bike. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, with the side
Yeah.
bars at the front.
Yeah,
on the
'cause
wheel.
it- yeah,
Because
on
you
the
could
wheels.
stand
'cause-
on
yeah,
it or
that's it, yeah.
something.
And I was teaching him how to do jumps, as in like you go off a hill and you lift the bike up in the air, and it
All
was
the cool
me,
stuff.
my brother, me mom, and my nan, my mom's mom, and I'd done a few of them. Anyway, he was getting better and better. He hadn't quite mastered it, and he did the one, and the bank was in such that we were stood like here, and there was a bank, and then it dropped. So he was coming off and doing like that, and then he obviously disappear. And then like a few seconds later, he'd come back up, normally pushing his bike up because who wants to ride the bike up a steep hill? And so he'd done this, gone off, and all of a sudden there was silence. And then all of a sudden there was like this hysterical screaming. And so we obviously all ran down. Not really though, thinking it was anything really severe or anything. It was more like he's probably just hurt himself. So I say run, it's probably more of a
What's
quick
the matter
walk.
now?
Yeah, well, yeah,
No,
a little
no,
bit, yeah, because you weren't
go
sure.
With caution.
And then nothing really clicked until we got really close to him, and we'd seen that. Sorry if anyone was squeamish, but those it was the handlebar actually had twisted on his jump, and had ripped his leg from here to here, open. And I remember then my mom, who I always thought was quite a logical thinker, and she is, but I think when that situation happened, all reason went out the window. My nan at the time, God rest bless her soul, she's no longer with us. She was useless at stuff like that, absolutely useless.
Oh, squeamish, like
and
panicky.
just screaming and like, oh my god, you know. And then we've got Ben, my brother, crying, obviously, because I think he was about maybe 9, 10, maybe, and I would have been about 13 or something. I can't remember, but it weren't that old. My mom's sort of panicking. Everyone's running over and like, oh my god, look at this, and then instantly, for me, it was like, right. No one's going to sort this out unless I step in and sort this out. And that was as a 12, 13-year-old.
Child, yeah.
And so it was right, okay. Well, obviously, we're not taking him home like that, are we? So it was ring 999. Let's get an ambulance out here.
Did you have mobiles back in the olden days then?
Mom had one.
Did she?
Cheeky.
What a cool chick.
So Mom had one. So we rang 999, got an ambulance out. I didn't know where it was, where we were. I knew the part was in Kidderminster, but I was only young, obviously, so I didn't need to know that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I was asking my mom. Mom's like, I don't know. My nan's like, I don't know. And even though my nan
they
lives
didn't
in
know the name of the park.
They did, but they were so
you
panicked.
take for granted,
It just didn't. So I had to run to the end of the park, find the name, come back. And so I sort of took charge of that situation until the ambulance came. I was trying to keep everybody away. Even the ambulance were there saying, look, can you stay back, give us some privacy? And so I almost became the grown-up of the situation.
Yeah.
And I think that, obviously, I wish that never happened, of course. But I think that was kind of the start of me realising that I'm probably a lot like my dad, that I just become quite, when the emergency happens, I would like to think I'm the guy that is calm, cool and collected and we'll get through it.
Yeah.
So, but for me, I think the best way I deal with stress in terms of if something happens in the middle of the day is a bit of peace and quiet.
Yeah, you need to cut off, don't you? You don't need, when I'm like, ooh, again, have you seen what Tracy's ordered? It's ever so nice. You know, they've changed the logo this time.
I do care, but I don't care.
You do care, but not at that moment in time when you're in the middle of editing or whatever you're doing.
So if something happens,
or if
I mean,
you need to sort something.
Every day there's something in there. Anyone that says they don't have bad days at work, you're talking nonsense.
Yeah, can I have a job, please?
Yeah, exactly. Such a nonsense.
In your unicorn fairyland.
Yeah, that doesn't exist. So whenever it happens for me, it's almost like, right, okay, let's not think about the emotion that it's evoking. Let's think about as a problem. So sort of like trying to remove myself.
Yeah.
And I find the best way to do that is to take myself out of that environment for a minute. Whether even that's just even going into a different room and walking up and down the one, because I find that walking helps me.
Yeah, you've always done your phone calls pacing.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm more energetic or something, or I can think
more alert.
I don't know what it is.
But there is evidence in that.
So I'll remove myself. I will pace up and down, whether it's in a different room or whether I'll go for a little walk or something. And I just, as I say, I don't think about the emotional part of the stress or the problem. I think about it as, like you said earlier, I'm the only one that's going to get out of this, right? So what do I need to do to fix the problem? And then I come back with a plan. And normally that happens relatively quickly normally.
Yeah,
sort of within 5 to, depending how bad it is.
Well, you're a big believer in making a decision and going with it.
Yeah.
Some things will be wrong.
Yeah.
And
inevitably.
then you have to just deal with it.
Yeah.
But you have to make that decision. Whereas, once again, I'm the opposite, and I'll be like, well, actually, no, we could do that, but what if we did this? And it drives you up the wall.
Well, only because I think there is nothing worse than not making a decision.
Yeah.
Because if you don't make a decision, you never move forward.
Yeah.
You get, if anything, you fall behind.
Yeah.
Because other people are making decisions and overtaking you.
Yeah.
And I try and instill in everybody around us that no one person has all the answers.
Yeah.
All you can do is look at all the facts that are there at the time.
Yeah.
But at some point, somebody has to take ownership and say, right,
Yeah.
I'll make a call on this, and this is
Yeah.
what we're going to do. And like you say,
And
sometimes
you
you
do
get it
have to
wrong,
own
sometimes
it
you get
if
it
it
right.
goes
Of
wrong, and
course you
you're
do.
very good at that.
Of course
to be
you do.
fair. You are very good at that, and it's completely different quality to what I have. So that does work well for us. So yeah, I find that quite helpful. I also really enjoy taking time out to walk the dog
Yeah, a
and
lot
just
of
sort
people
of
say that.
enjoy that.
Nature.
Yeah. And even when it's winter, at the end of the day, we live in England. It ain't going to be sunny and frills and hot.
No, we don't live in
So,
California,
yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, sadly. As long as you've got the correct clothing available at threadapixel.com.
We should have one of those things that flash across the screen.
Yeah. Got your waterproof steel toe cap boots, practical and
Steel
comfortable
toe-cap
in ladies'
boots.
fit. I know I got steel toe cap boots, but just
Yeah,
in case, you
yeah,
never know, you're not
okay.
going to hurt your toe, are
Yeah,
you?
you might have
When she clambers
an
on my
anvil
feet,
fall,
that's not going to hurt. Yeah, you
like in the
carry on,
cartoon.
love. See what you
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
Waterproof trousers if need be, like when she's jumping up at you, or if, God forbid, you fall over. Good waterproof coat, a hat, gloves, thermals. You're sorted.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're wet, but you can come home and have a lovely warm. Well, not every day on the way to work. I don't have time to come home and have a bath. But
this is that whole piece of just getting out with nature, isn't it? And
yeah,
being fresh air in the countryside.
yeah.
No distractions, really, I suppose, other than
Well,
just
no,
you
and
and
it's
your own
quite
thoughts.
no, but it's quite nice seeing other people with dogs.
Right.
How old are they? I quite enjoy meeting new people and speaking to them, and it's pretty pleasant. They're all local people. It's nice to get to know the community. I've met quite a lot of people, like a lot of people in the local community through dog walking.
Right.
Yeah, so I find that time really, really nice to sort of take in a bit of nature, which, like you say, is important. And
I'm going to have to stop you there for a moment. I'm really sorry.
what?
We have an issue at the moment with Helen and Mike because Helen's head.
Am I looking
What
away?
happens is we set this up and Helen puts her
haven't
head
moved.
in a position, right? And then I say, is that where you're going to be? Yeah, right. So I'll adjust the mic to get it in the right sort of position. And then within 10 minutes, she's over here. And then, why can't they hear me, Chris? I can't hear myself on the camera.
Moved.
No, now,
What?
you were basically talking like this.
Like
now you're
this?
talking like this.
Hello.
So that is why, if anyone was wondering over the past few podcasts,
Hello.
why Helen keeps on coming in and out, I haven't got the time just to go through
to
every time
adjust
you
every-
move. And I need to raise her now. And it's like, no.
Okay.
So, sorry. You were talking about dogs.
No, forget it.
Because I want our 3 listeners to really understand what you're saying. But otherwise, it's going to be like, I don't know what I'm saying. What did she say? I don't know.
Okay. So am I facing like here or here? Oh, you're moaning because I'm like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay. Yeah. Hey.
By George, I think she's got it.
Okay. Yeah.
Episode
Yes,
8.
because when I sat there, I was like, yes, I'm ready. But then you sat there after. So that's your fault for sitting there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll stand over there off camera. That's what you normally like. Isn't you the limelight?
No. So getting out in nature is great. And like I say, I wear my heart on my sleeve. Problem shared is problem halved. So I've got some incredible friends, some new friends over the last last couple of years, which I find great to speak to. I think as you get older, you see the kind of people that you want to be around, and you sort of build your own sort of tribe.
Well, I think when you're younger,
and
you see everybody as a friend, don't you?
yeah,
Everybody you have
yeah.
a contact with that you go for a pint with or you go shopping with, that's a friend.
Yeah.
But in reality, when you get older, I think you realise that you could probably, on one hand, and I think if you're lucky, if you've got a handful of good friends, I think normally you end up with like
anything for you.
1, 2, maybe 3 that, like you say, you could do anything for you. And then everybody else becomes acquaintances. And that's not a bad thing.
But it's just acknowledging that and then not being upset when, your expectations aren't met as a true friend when you realise, well, you know what? They're an acquaintance and it's maybe time to accept that. And because I said to you, as you get older, it's almost because I watch these like silly reality shows and all they're doing is
Trash
bitching and
telly.
moaning. And I said, gee, I don't miss that from school. It's just ridiculous. I haven't got time for it. That must be stress. I mean, that they're all stressed out, saying they're so stressed out because they're, you know, moaning about each other behind their back to high heavens and then getting with each other's partners and all the blooming rest of it. And they wonder why they're feeling like that. Oh,
But
anyway.
I think that it's, you said earlier, and this is what I tried to say at the beginning. This is not meant to be an offence, and I do genuinely think that stress is a real thing. I know it's a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
And people need help and support with it, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I think people use the word too
flippantly.
Yeah, stress, anxiety, depression. And I'm not saying that you don't feel overwhelmed or you feel sad. I'm not saying that, and I'm not like trying to put down or say you're saying your feelings are wrong. I'm not saying that.
No.
I'm trying to say there is that all of us have periods where we feel sad or out of control or overwhelmed. But that doesn't necessarily mean I'm suffering with a medical condition of stress, anxiety, or depression. It just means for that short period, something isn't right and I need to fix it.
Find a way to get through
sometimes, and it seems to be coming more and more popular. I don't know if it's because we are talking about the subject more. I don't know. I'm not saying that's the cause, but maybe that's the reason why we are seeing it more. But people use those words quite a lot. And I'm not sure that always it really is that you are clinically stressed or anxious or suffering from depression. And as I say, please, I don't want anybody to take offence. I'm not saying if anyone is suffering from those feelings.
Of course, there are a lot of cases that are, but there's 100%, a few that,
and I think the other thing is, I wanted to say, and I just wanted to sort of say it because I feel like it needs to be said. I feel like people still have a taboo with stress, anxiety, and depression. Those that are clinically and really suffering and have been unable to get out of that headspace for a period of time. And it's funny that if you break your bone, you go to a doctor, they x-ray it, they fix it, reposition it if they have to, put a cast on it, and probably give you some painkillers. And for 6 weeks, then you go through a healing period. You might have to go back. You're seen by a medical professional.
And you adjust your life to what you can accommodate.
You go and see a medical professional, and they help you and support you in a rehabilitation of your physical body. And yet, when our brain isn't working the way it should be, for whatever reason, don't want to go and see a psychologist or a I can't think of the word.
Therapist.
I can't think of the word.
Yeah, counsellor.
Counsellor, yes. I don't want to go and see a counsellor. Or I don't want to take medication for that. But why not? Because it's just your brain isn't or your mind needs fixing.
Chemicals aren't quite right.
And you need some help and support. It's the same thing, but because it's not a physical injury that you can see, well, it's, I don't want to do that. And I find it really bizarre because I think that counsellors do an absolutely incredible job.
Yeah. Oh, I mean there's no doubt about it.
I mean, that's our shout out this week, isn't it? Is counsellors in general.
Yeah. Because, like you say, it's something that personally I feel everybody would benefit from having. But I appreciate that, financially it's not always something that people prioritise. I would say afford, but we like this saying, don't we? When you say, I can't afford that. Well, if you didn't have X, Y, Z, maybe you could afford it.
Maybe, yeah.
So yeah, it just depends what your priorities are or what you financially
it's
can
funny because people will
to.
say, I can't afford to go on holiday this year. But you smoke, you go to the pub every Friday, Saturday night, you're having takeaways, you get your nails done every week. So actually, if you save that money, you could afford a holiday. But your priority is those things over a holiday. Not that I can't afford a holiday.
Of course,
I can afford it, but I'm choosing to spend my money on these things instead.
And like you say, that's fine, but it's just adapting that wording, isn't it? I mean, personal experience in the past, a good few years ago, I was going through a period where I just it was like my brain was like a sieve. And I think that's the best way of describing it. And I just couldn't function. And so, I had counselling for, it was only actually 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
And it helped me tremendously.
Yeah.
And it was actually just online. I never actually met them.
Right.
Personally. And she didn't actually give me any answers as such, because I was discussing this with somebody else recently because they were having counselling, because I was discussing it with friends actually when I met them on last week, and she was saying that she'd had a counsellor that was giving their opinion on her own family, which it was quite an aggressive opinion as well, which we all agreed we felt was stepping over the mark a little bit.
Right.
And perhaps they shouldn't have such a strong opinion as a counsellor. But again, that's not my profession, so I can't really comment. It was a personal point of view of ours. But yeah, she just sort of left me to talk.
So did they ask you questions then to try and get you to come to the answers yourself?
Yeah,
Right.
but as it all began, she said, "Tell me about your childhood from when you can remember to now."
Okay.
And apparently that's quite a common form of starting your counselling.
Oh, right. So going back to the beginning almost.
And that massively helped, because it helped me reflect relationships with my family and maybe why they react in a certain way and why I react in that certain way. For example, me and my brother are very, very different. I'm very needy, whereas he's very independent.
Yeah.
And it just sort of allowed me to click with that, which is massive. And I'd never sort of reflected on that until I spoke about it. So it made me reflect on loads of things, how I was being treated at work at the time, because I wasn't happy.
By the way, we weren't working together at that point.
It was a different job. How their behaviour was affecting me, how I felt their behaviour, how I could react differently.
So what was said to you, or situations?
Yeah, how I could react differently to, get a better outcome.
Okay.
The way they were treating me, I wasn't happy with, but how could I act to change that? Instead of saying, "Oh, they're this, that, and the other." Well, hold on. What can you do to try and improve that?
Well, that's the thing, because what the saying is that offence is taken, not given.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
So it's up to you how you choose to react to a statement or something that's said to you. Because ultimately, the only person that ever losing out when you react badly is the person who's reacted badly, is them themselves. So, so hopefully people have picked up some bits and pieces there. Maybe they didn't know before.
How long have we been talking? Yeah, nearly half an hour. Yeah,
just over half an hour. Try not to go too much over half an hour, because it could be a bit like. Our 3 subscribers, you think, I've got to get to work now.
Yeah. But I do feel, in roundup that, zoning out, having some time on your own. Fresh air.
Well, that's a common theme, isn't it? So you go in the car for your time and walking out with the dog. So
yes,
time
that's
on
very
your own.
contrasting. And music.
And music.
And speaking to others, sharing.
And
sharing is caring.
And for me, it was about taking some time, walking.
Yeah. Well, you do exercise now as well. You're going to the gym.
I'm going, loosely.
Yeah.
We'll explain that in a minute. And so taking some time, walking. Yeah. Really, those are my sort of ways of dealing with it. So, I am going to the gym, which is why I'm slouching and I'm getting slower, lower and lower and lower. And normally, in this sofa, you can't help but slouch anyway, but I normally pick myself up, but I'm hurting. I haven't been for about 5 weeks. I've been
we went
using
on holiday,
the excuse
then
I'm
we went
busy.
very well.
Holiday, not very well. I could have gone, obviously. You can always find time, because that's another phrase that I hate. I
don't have time, but
that's for another podcast.
Yeah.
But so talking about stress, we've done our shout out, sorry. So we've done this to counsellors. So all counsellors are there. You do amazing work.
Oh, yeah.
Please keep going. We'll carry on banging the drum about how amazing and important it is. And hopefully other people jump on. And hopefully together we can change this perception of this all being a taboo subject, because it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And just talking about it. And actually, if we did that, we might not feel stressed or anxious or fed up about silly things that actually we could fix really quite quickly, just ourselves. We're talking about stress, and then we spoke about Christmas, because that is now what, 6 weeks, 5, 6 weeks, 7 weeks?
It's not long. It's not long. Yeah.
And that is a stressful time for people.
Because our son wanted to watch a Christmas movie, and you said
hold
no.
Hold on, you're jumping off. Honestly, you can tell we don't prepare these things, don't you? Can't you?
Christmas is a stressful time.
I just want to say that, because we're talking about stress, that Christmas is a stressful time for people. And I feel that this year has been a really tough year for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Nearly everyone we spoke to said this year has been a difficult year for different reasons. But in general, it just seems that, but actually since COVID, I don't think people have had, I think they've been battered and hit left, right, centre. And Christmas is coming, and it's never a nice feeling when you feel that you should have to spend X, Y, and Z to make people happy. And we had this conversation this morning, didn't we? About when did it become more about spending than, as in physical money, versus spending time with people?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's it's lost its whole meaning, Christmas.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say to everybody that if it means anything, my 2 cents worth, don't get stressed over it. It's not worth it. The most important thing is you get to spend the time with the people that you love and care about. And no present is going to change that. No present is going to replace that feeling. So make the most of each other. You don't know how long you've got. Just make the most of each other, because so what? The kids had I don't know what kids have now, a new game or a Switch or an iPad or whatever it is. So what? You know what they're going to remember is that Christmas dinner or the time you played a board game together as a family.
Yeah, that's the main
That's the
memories,
stuff
core
that
memories that
remembers.
you remember,
Exactly.
isn't
I don't remember
when you
what I
actually
had.
think about it.
I don't remember what I had, but I remember those times when my mom and dad would argue or something, or my dad built me my Postman Pat thing and he got in with me. And it wasn't that it was the it was his
that
board.
there,
He
with
built
you.
it for me. He got in with me.
Yeah.
That's the things I remember. So please don't stress about it. It's not worth it.
I do think that, I've said this numerous times, COVID has helped people reflect on like things like that rather than monetary value.
And I hope it really carries on with people, because it's not important. It's not worth. There's plenty of things to get stressed about that you can't control. That, please don't give yourself a hard time over it. Whatever you can afford is enough. Just spend time with each other.
And I always love a handmade card as well.
Yeah,
I do love a handmade card.
Yeah,
I think it's a really nice touch. So
you were going to say that Parker wanted to put a Christmas movie on, weren't you?
Yeah, he wanted to put on Elf, and you said no, not till
Absolutely
December.
no way.
And I was like, oh, come on, let's get in the Christmas spirit.
Scrooge, Grinch.
You were.
Every
we were
negative
both
connotation with Christmas, I was. Both of them. And then he even put it on. And then I heard these two sniggering because I was on my phone doing some reading. I watched this and he's like, shh, shh, shh. As he says,
get it
jingle all
off.
the way. Well,
but I just think we've said a few years in a row now for Christmas, the build up to Christmas is almost as good as the day. So
yes, but if you build it up for too long,
yeah, but why not? God, it's been a mad year. Why not?
So this is the challenge this week, then, isn't it? Because I think the tree should go up. Well, in actual fact, I think the tree should go up about 2 weeks before Christmas. However, in later years, I have agreed that
managed to push it forward,
the first weekend in December. But
done quite well there.
And I'm not budging on that. That is absolutely, we're not putting decorations up prior to that. When would you put decorations up? Now.
Maybe the last weekend in December. It depends when December.
The last weekend in December.
The last
after
weekend.
Christmas.
Oh God, no. The last weekend in November. But I think this year, the first weekend in December is like the 1st or 2nd or something. It's quite early on in the month, I think. So I was quite happy with that.
So I think the challenge this week is, when should you start celebrating Christmas from? Because as far as I'm concerned, when you start watching movies, you start putting the music on, you put the decorations. That's when all the Christmas celebration
and get the Christmas
start.
jumper out.
So for me, it should be the 1st of December. For you, obviously, it must be now, because you'd start watching movies now.
Yeah, from like after the first week of November, once you've got bonfire night out the way, I definitely feel it's acceptable to watch Christmas movies, because there's so many. You were like, what, have any left?
There's
loads.
Yeah, there is loads.
There's so many.
But how many good ones are there? How many good ones are
but
there?
we could try some of the naff ones. Like he wanted to watch Home Alone 3. Is it 3?
The newest one.
The one that came out a couple of years ago. No, it's not very good.
No.
But it's okay to watch in the background.
No, it's not very good. I don't like it. So, yeah, I think the 1st of December, you think, well, basically, leave it up all year.
After the first week of November, it's okay to watch the Christmas movies, not put the tree up. I'm okay to compromise on the first weekend of December for the tree.
Oh, yeah.
But let's get,
That's a politician's answer, that is.
Let's get the Christmas movies out now.
Okay. Well, so there we go. And so we spoke about stress, ways we deal with it.
And it's your mindset. I just wanted to say the mindset, because, our son wasn't very well this week, and and the doctors were full. I went to the pharmacist to ask, and they instantly said, you need to go to A&E. My heart completely sank.
He's okay, by the way.
His eyes opened wide, and I was like, okay, no problem. We can arrange that. Absolutely no problem. And I was panicking, but I did not show it. I tried to do the calm mum, and obviously pulled it off, because he was like, oh, shouldn't we be rushing, Mum? And yeah, called 111. Luckily, got an appointment within the hour, and it was great. And yeah, it's not serious. It's has his tests, and so we're taking it from there, and hopefully we're okay. So yeah, that was all in your state of mind. Because I think
Yeah.
probably a few years ago, I would have been all panic stations. I probably just would have called you straight away.
Well, yeah, there's been
Probably would have
instances
just
before
called you
when things
straight
have happened.
away.
You have called me straight away. So yeah, that would have
But
been
yeah,
you.
we dealt with it, and yeah, probably. I don't even think I called you till we actually got into the hospital. To be honest, I can't even remember. It's all a blur
No, you
now.
called me before because you
Um,
said you had to pick him up, and I said, "Just let me know how things have got on." So,
Yeah.
but no, you did
So yeah,
very well.
your state
You
of
did very well.
mind is so important because, like I say, a few years ago, I would have panicked and not dealt with it,
Mhm.
and you just have to. So,
Yeah.
and leaning on those around you.
Very good. You finished?
I can't end a conversation, can I?
When you speak to your mom, this is exactly what happens. They'll say bye, and then literally for the 20 minutes,
so
then the
did you get gas
conversation
shopping
carries
the other
on.
day?
Yeah. Right.
Did
So I'm going to put my foot down, metaphorically, say, that's it. That's the end. These
Yeah.
people are bored. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I hope you're enjoying it.
Enjoy your Christmas movies.
Enjoy your Christmas movies
Unless
on the
you're
1st of
Scrooge.
December,
Unless you're Scrooge.
and we'll see you next week.
Oh, have a good week.
Bye. Bye.